This is the 20th question of TMUA 2023 Paper 2 exam. The question says, let f be a polynomial with real coefficients. The integral I p comma q, where p is less than q. So p is less than q is given to me, is defined by from p to q f of x square of that minus f of mod x square of that dx. Okay, which of the following statement must be true? Okay, so I have few statements. I p q equal to 0 only if 0 is less than p. F dash x equal to 0 for all x only if this integral is less than 0 for all. Then I p q is greater than 0 only if p is less than 0. Okay, so I have mod here. So one thing I know that f of x, if x is greater than 0, then f of x is same as f of mod x. Okay, and if x is less than 0, then f of mod x becomes equal to f of minus x. Okay, this much I know, because when x is greater than 0, mod x and x are same. If x is less than 0, mod x becomes minus x. Okay, so, and if x is equal to 0 also, you can say that these are same, because x f of mod 0 becomes f of 0. So now coming back to our equation, f of x square minus f of mod x square. F of x square of this minus f of mod x square of this dx. We have been given from p to q. So wherever x is greater than or equal to 0, this becomes 0 because they are equal. Okay, because if x is greater than or equal to 0, in that case f of mod x becomes f of x. This becomes f of x whole square minus f of x whole square. Okay, which is 0 only. So if p, I know that p is less than q. So if p is greater than or equal to 0, this integral I p comma q evaluates to 0. So whenever the function f of x is such plotted, function can be any function, but it is plotted on xy plane, and for the values when x is greater than 0, if I take any two values of p and q in that range, where p and q are greater than 0, because if p is greater than or equal to 0, q will automatically be greater than 0, because q is greater than. In that case, this integral will evaluate to 0. Now I will look at the option. I p q equal to 0 only if p is greater than 0. It says p is greater than 0, but p equal to 0 also works, because when p equal to 0 also, this is evaluating to 0, because x can be greater than or equal to 0. So from 0 this integral can start. So this option is incorrect, because p can be greater than or equal to 0, not just p greater than 0. Second one says f dash x is 0 for all x. So if f dash x is 0 for all x, that means let us assume that f dash x is equal to minus 1. So a negative 1 downward sloping curve for all x. So for that I can assume that f of x is equal to 1 minus x. Okay, 1 minus x, 2 minus x, some constant minus x. Okay, I'll just write it as, let us assume 1 minus x for easier calculation. The graph is like this of 1 minus x. We know that when x is greater than 0, the integral will always be equal to 0. Okay, that integral I p comma q. We are worried for only if I p q is less than equal to 0, then p is less than equal to, for all p and q on the negative side. Okay, p is less than q and q is also less than 0. So in this case, only if for all. Okay, let me find the integral here. So this over here will be q, and let's say this over here is P. Now this is the area between P and Q of under just f of x. This is just f of x. Now, if I find the value of f dash mod x here, okay, on this Q side till here, Q will be somewhere here on the positive side reflection, and on the P side, P will be somewhere here. Okay. Now if you look at it, the value of f of x value that I get from here is more than the value f of mod x that I get. Mod x, f of mod q will be somewhere here, this value, and f of mod p will be here, this value. Okay. So f of x will always be greater than f of mod x here because it's a downward sloping graph like this. Okay. And p and q has to be chosen on the negative side. Why I have taken the reflection on that side? Because mod x, if q is let's say -3, mod of -3 will be +3 here. If p is -5, mod of -5 will be +5 on this side here. Okay. So f of mod p will be less than f of mod x. And we have to find this integrand. So f of x has a bigger value than f of mod x. Okay. In terms of value terms. So square will also have a bigger value here. Okay. So if square has a bigger value here, the integral becomes positive. Here it says that integral is negative. Okay. But this is not correct. So I can get a positive integral. I can also get a negative integral. When it is closer to 0, in that case, it is a higher number, but the square of that number will also become a lower number. But in any ways, I will get a positive integral here. Okay. So I can get a positive integral in this situation of 1 minus x. So integral is not negative, integral is positive. So this option is also ruled out. Okay. Because I have seen that if I get a positive integral in this situation, still f dash x can be 0. Okay. Now finally the third one, it says I p comma q is greater than 0 only if p is less than 0. This is already true because if p is greater than or equal to 0, this I p comma q will always be 0. So for it to be greater than 0, the only possibility is p has to be negative. Because if p becomes negative, it can be positive, negative, anything, but it has to be negative. Okay. So if p is negative, this is possible. So answer option 3 is possible. So answer option 3 is correct, which is answer option D. So D over here, 3 only is the correct answer. This is quite a challenging question. You need to know the concept of modulus. You need to know the concept of integration, and quite a logical question as well.